What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for Life, coming at you on YouTube, and tonight I've got some football focus. The Pittsburgh Steelers just finished playing the Buffalo Bills on Sunday Night Football in a game that was moved via flex in Week 15 of the 2019 NFL season, and it was the game we expected it to be. It was a gritty battle. It was two teams that have young quarterbacks, have injuries, don't have a ton of offensive life consistently in them, but two very solid physical pass rushing defenses, physical defenders, good corners. It was a very gritty battle. It was the kind of game I think everyone thought it was going to be. And just two solid improving teams that have overcome a lot of things recently. They have made the whole point of the coaching battle. The Bills coach and the Steelers coach both played under another guy who was there tonight, so that they go back to the same team a long time ago and all this stuff. But this game was really important overall because what we're getting now, it's Week 15, 3 weeks left in the season. We're really starting to see the AFC Playoff Picture shake out. And Pittsburgh got pretty lucky today because Oakland lost, and they were kind of right on our heels for that 6th seed. And Tennessee lost, and they were tied record-wise with us for that 6th seed. So this game wouldn't take us out of the playoffs at all because all of our rivals lost. But if we had won this game, we'd be tied with the Bills record-wise and be ahead of them because of the win. So we'd be in the 5th seed. So this was a chance for us to jump ahead and kind of really make our own destiny in these playoffs. Like I said, it didn't hurt too bad because Tennessee and Oakland lost. So we still control our own destiny as far as winning games to get in. We have 2 games left in this season. We have to win them both for the best chance to get in. Other things can happen. We can still get in either way. But if we really want to control our own destiny, we have to win these next 2 games against the Jets and the Ravens the last week of the season, and they may have nothing to play for. So the schedule may favor us in that aspect, but we did lose this game 17-10. Again, it was a low-scoring game. Overall on offense, not much life. You see 10 points there. Not terribly impressive. Some of the play calling is still a little bit off. Some costly turnovers when momentum was getting going. Let's just kind of get into the numbers here, basically. A few big mistakes in this game. Devlin Hodges, 4 interceptions. We'll get to those. The first one didn't really matter. He kind of threw it up on a 3rd down and long, so it was kind of like a long punt. Didn't really hurt us. The second interception that he had in the second half was when we were driving down the field about to secure a nice lead, and it was intercepted by Tre'Davious White and returned down to like our 20-yard line. So it was a big momentum shift and a big point swing. Easy for me to say. And that was a big mistake as well. We also ran a gadget play, a wildcat play on the 10-yard line after getting the ball on a turnover. We had the ball in our red zone on our 10-yard line and ran some silly gadget play where the running back hands to the receiver, and the snap was bad and the handoff was bad. We fumbled it and cost ourselves points in our own territory like that. So mistakes like that usually will not win you games, especially against a budding young team like the Bills, who played pretty well tonight. But overall, defensively, 17 points allowed. A lot of that was because of turnovers, too. Also, Jordan Berry shanked a punt that went about 20 yards. I don't know what happened there, but between last week and this week, maybe he was just too nervous. He didn't want to hold the ball, so he tried to punt it too fast after last week's bad call. But he shanked one about 20 yards, which also cost us a touchdown early in the game. So all in all, offense didn't do much. Defense played pretty well, but we fell a little bit short today in this battle of defenses. 17-10. Here are your numbers. Devlin Duck Hodges had his first bad game as our starting quarterback. It was the roughest offensive performance in the Duck Dynasty era. 23 of 38, just 204 yards, 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions. James Conner was back tonight for the first time in like 4, 5, 6 weeks. Played pretty well. He took the number 1 running back lead, obviously, as you'd expect. Made some guys miss. He's really good at running physically, even better than Benny Snell. And he does make a lot of guys miss on those short outs and flats that he runs to bail the quarterback out on short passes. So 8 carries for 42 yards, and then 4 catches for 9 yards and a receiving touchdown. So Connor did get our only offensive touchdown through the air tonight. James Washington led the way at wide receiver, 5 catches for 83 yards. Deontay Johnson played pretty well as well, 5 catches for 64 yards. And notably, Nick Vanette at tight end had the best tight end game of any Steelers tight end this season. I think he had 4 catches for 40 yards or 5 for 40 yards. Not spectacular, but he did take some second down and long plays, some third down and long plays, and make the distance shorter. Just making some catches and trying to stay on his feet for as long as possible. So kudos to Vanette for being the first tight end that I mentioned in a positive light all season long. It's been a rough season for Steeler tight ends. Obviously, we didn't have our starter tonight. Vance McDonald did not play and hasn't done much this season anyway, to be honest. So I will say this offensively. I feel like Randy Fiechner's play calling is not very good. Aside from the asinine bonehead Wildcat play that it got us a turnover when we should have had a touchdown, just overall the play calling is really weird. They're not letting, they don't let Hodges really get out of the blocks and try any downfield stuff until it's way too late. They just stall drives out by doing these dink and dunk passes short of the chains. I don't know why they're calling those. The run plays are predictable. It's the same shotgun read option handoff that doesn't really go anywhere. You had Edmonds, the Edmonds brother, playing fullback last week. He was dressed today to play. He was on the active roster. I don't know why he wasn't allowed to play fullback today. Why not even line up like a Zach Gentry or a Nick Vanette back there to let Connor and Samuels and Snell run behind those guys? Didn't make much sense. They didn't use Kareth White enough. I think he only had 1 or 2 plays, but he made the most of those 1 or 2. But he didn't get a lot of touches either. Again, Connor looks like by far and away our best back in terms of what he can do. Running routes, getting better at catching the ball, making guys miss in the open field, and finishing runs. But he's never healthy. He was finally there tonight, and he got like 5.2 yards a carry. But he's got to be there more consistently for us this season. Receiving wise, throw more shots to James Washington. They threw up 2 deep balls to him. Well, three deep balls to him tonight. One was just a bad throw by Hodges that was way off of his route and got intercepted by Tre'Davious White, who is a phenomenal Bills cornerback. But the other 2 deep shots to Washington both were completions. They both were long downfield completions. The graphic they showed tonight was when Hodges throws a contested ball to Washington that's catchable for 20 yards and beyond down the field, they were 8 for 8. Washington caught all 8 of the catchable balls thrown to him beyond 20 yards, and he caught 2 more tonight. Throw more balls to him. Deon Cain also only had 1 target tonight, and that was in the 4th quarter on a bad interception in the end zone. Give Deon Cain more of a chance. Why is Johnny Holton in there so much? He does nothing. He had, I think, 2 targets and 1 catch for a yard. He doesn't do anything out there. Tevin Jones had 2 contested targets and dropped both balls. They were tough ones, but he didn't catch anything. Why is he out there? Give Washington more shots. Give Cain more opportunities. Let Deontay Johnson run more hooks and more crosses. Get the effective guys out there. I don't understand the personnel grouping sometimes with this team. Defensively, like I said, pretty good game. Only 1 sack today. Kudos to the Buffalo Bills offensive line. They protected Josh Allen very well. We had 1 sack total. That was T.J. Watt and Vince Williams combined for 0.5 sacks apiece. T.J. Watt, on top of his half a sack tonight, he also had a forced fumble. And played very well. He batted 1 or 2 balls out of the quarterback's hands. He had several tackles for a loss on running backs, getting their ankles. He had the half sack. He had the forced fumble. He had another 3rd down stop on a punch ball. He's been excellent. He is a front runner. He is my defensive player of the year. So what if I'm biased? The guy is excellent. The guy is just full speed every time. Williams again had a half sack. Devin Bush was very active tonight. I think he only was credited for 4 tackles, but he was in there on a lot of plays. He was around the ball a lot tonight. That was nice. Mark Barron made a few plays in coverage early on in the game, made a few tackles later on. People in Pittsburgh kind of give him grief because he started off so bad, but in my opinion, ever since the Week 4 game against the Bengals, the first one on Monday night, I think he's been good ever since then. I've liked what he's done in coverage. I like what he's done in tackling. I think he's really good. I think he's rebounded nicely from a rough start in the first quarter of the season. He played pretty well tonight. Steven Nelson did get beat for a deep ball and a couple of outs. John Brown had a really good game tonight, 99 yards on, I think, 5 catches. But Nelson did get a nice interception. That was really good to see. Tyson Alualu came in and filled in nicely. He had a forced fumble. He had a batted ball. And he had a couple of nice running back tackles. I think even one for a loss. So best game of the season, or one of the best games of the season for Tyson Alualu. Like I said, overall coverage was pretty good. John Brown was the only receiver for the Bills to go over 15 yards. The next leading receiver had 14. Devin Singletary played pretty well with like 80 plus yards, like 82 yards, something like that. Played pretty solid, but did fumble the ball twice and lost one of them. So Pittsburgh contended with the speedy guys pretty well. John Brown was the only one to really get off. Josh Allen did throw for one touchdown and run for one, but overall his runs were limited. The edge was set nicely. We got a couple of decent pressures, even though we didn't get a lot of sacks. So when your defense gives up 17 points, and even that is only because of a very short punt and a very bad turnover, you can't blame the defense for this one. The offense has to play better. The personnel, the play calling, the pre-snap penalties, and Duck's decisions have to get a little better. You got to let Duck throw the ball downfield a little more. Duck's got to be a little more poised. The running game has to get going a little more. Use some fullbacks. Get your tight ends more involved in the game. Get the better receivers out there, and put some playmakers like Kareth White and Deon Cain with the chance to break some plays. So all in all, not terribly happy with the loss tonight. Pittsburgh is now 8-6, but we have the Jets next week. And again, if we can win these next two games against the Jets and the Ravens, if the Ravens already have the first spot clinched, they won't probably have their starters in there. So Pittsburgh still got a good shot, and we're still currently in the 6th seed for the playoffs. So no 5 seed for us. Congrats to the Bills on getting to the playoffs for the first time in a while. Overall, again, not the outcome that I expected, especially with Connor back, but we'll take it. We're still sitting at 8 wins, and we got a good chance to get number 9 next week against the Jets. So tell me who impressed you. Tell me what pissed you off. Talk to me in the comments about your players of the week and your game balls, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you.